Yeah, that song is stuck in my head. Buenos dias. Bonjour. Bonjour. Good morning. Good morning. It's time to rise and shine. It's 10 o'clock. Anyway, bonjour. How are you doing? Oh, yeah. Listen, I want to go to the mall right after I finish cooking and go look for that camera. I have not ordered anything from Amazon, so that would be an experience for me to try to get it there. And I'm sure there is a delay in delivery, so that Prime is not something that would be applied here. Good morning. Hola, Greta. Denita, my friend, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. I was talking to a friend of mine who just got her residency in Mexico. And I said, I know somebody who was in, I think you were in, I always forget the area that you were at. And who's here in Panama. And I think there's another sister who is coming from Mexico to Panama. No, you're in Merida, I know, but this lady, is it Guanajuato? I think Benita, you were somewhere else. But anyway, so you know, there is fluid, there is movement from to and from both places. So this morning, you're doing well, just being still. Querétaro, that's right, that's right. You know, I want to visit Mexico, but I think I would do maybe a couple of days in Mexico City. I don't know if I want to even go to Merida. With this heat wave and stuff, I'm scared. They have this one that's so pretty, where this lady Casa de Elm is. Puerto Vallarta, I'm not interested. It's like a beach place. I'm not into beach towns. But anyway, so I know, Greta, that heat, I'm leaving it all for you, my friend, all for you. All right, well, let's just say our words for the day today is hope, right? Being hopeful is something that you cultivate. It's not something that, you know, everybody is wired differently. Some people are down in the mouth, very negative. You know, those are the people, if you say, well, how are you today? They never say, I'm doing great. It's always, oh, this and this and that. So those are the people you see, you're afraid to ask them how they're doing because they're going to tell you, right? So some people are like that. And then you have the other extreme, somebody who's totally oblivious, you know, does not even, you don't feel like they have their feet planted in reality. Like some people say, you know, you live in a different universe. I don't know that you want to be at either extreme, you know, you just want to be in the middle where you can be objective, you can see what's happening around you. The challenge is to not let what's happening just zap your spirit. Well, you become this very despondent and depressed person. And then one of the things that helped me is always to go back in history and see that it's always been like this, and it's been worse at some different times. So you can't just latch on and say, you know, when you see the earthquake and everything happening, well, they've had disasters before too, right? And of course, we don't understand how these things happen. And you can get down that rabbit hole that, well, if there is a God, he wouldn't let this happen. Why are these things happening? I don't know why they're happening. And if you know, just tell me. You know, and some Christian person would say, well, God didn't allow it to this and that. They go into this philosophical thing and then my eyes start rolling. We're not doing that. We're just saying you need some practical tips to look at the world around you. Yes, it is crazy, it's challenging, but look back, right? Our forefathers, our great grandparents went through that and more. So, and then I always go back to mankind, you know, the seed of evil that is in people, for them to do the things that they do. But then I can't just go down that path. And I have to go back and say, but there are some decent human beings in this world. Some people who are doing good. So you see, this is that yin and yang. If you're not in the middle to be able to see the bad and the good, and then decide in the middle to say, you know what, I'm going to make a decision to be hopeful. I'm making a decision not to let whatever is happening around me just get me, drag me down, where I turn into this person who's like, oh, you know, everything is horrible. No, go outside and say, oh my God, what a pretty day. Oh, the sun is shining today. Oh, that water looks gorgeous. Oh, the birds sound good. That's what you got to do. And what I call those self-care. It is not an option. If you don't practice those things, you're going to get sucked into that hole. And that's what I want to say today. Cultivate hope. Because hopelessness is a lot easier to cultivate than hope. It's a lot easier to just see all the bad things, the bad people, the people who feel empowered to do all the shenanigans, all the stuff that they're doing to each other. I'm talking vile things to people. Children being snatched, you know, at the market, at the park, just because they want to traffic, you know, just crazy stuff. I'm like, and then there's some parents doing that to their own kids. So you cannot go down that path because it's always been there. There's nothing new under the sun. I think these are just such words that said, whatever you're seeing is happening, it's always been there. Maybe you were not aware, but it's always been there. Man has always been wicked. They've always grabbed what doesn't belong to them. Go back and read some history. They have not changed. People say same playbook. Yeah, same old, same old. All right? So just nurture yourself and keep yourself up and hopeful, because once you start to say there is no hope, you don't want to go down that path. This is no bueno. All right? So that's my word for the day. So now what are we cooking today? I think I told, is it Maria? One of the sisters said, she mentioned the ackee, and I said, I do have a can of ackee, and I was going to do it today, but yesterday I had a busy day. The internet was out for a long time. I couldn't even have my class, right? Greta knows. So, but I did get to see my 2 soccer games. The internet did come back. I think 20 or 1. So I did not get to go to the store to get the salt fish. And if I get salt fish, I have to soak it overnight, changing the water a couple of times to get the salt out. Because, you know, at my age, I cannot be eating anything that salty. No bueno for my blood pressure or anything else. You know, it makes me hold water. So I said, okay, what do I have in my kitchen that I could use? I had bought some chicken breast, so we're going to make a dish with chicken breast. So I posted something this morning when I woke up. I said, chicken cordon bleu. Chicken cordon bleu, you know, I went to Cordon Bleu, so I love to say that, chicken cordon bleu. Even though in French it's le cordon bleu, right? Bleu, not blue. But I said, okay, but I'm not going to do ham, you know. Processed meat, no. So we're going to do, we have 2 chicken breasts here that I thawed out overnight. We're going to butterfly it in the middle. We're going to pat it, not pat it, let me say that. You know, with the mallet, I don't have a mallet, but I have a cup that I use as my mallet here to just kind of make it thin around so that it cooks faster. The traditional cordon bleu chicken, once you butterfly the chicken breast, Then you put Swiss cheese, and then you put the ham, and then you roll it. You can either put it together with some toothpicks, which I don't have, or you can use twirl and tie it. Some people fry them, but we're gonna bake ours, okay? I'm not gonna use the twirl. Hopefully it's gonna be enough so it doesn't unravel. And then what I'm gonna do is we're gonna dredge it in a bit of flour, a little egg yolk, and then I think what I need to do right now is you do a mixture of panko and the breadcrumbs like I did for the fish, and then you kind of toast it a little bit, and that's the third dredge. After the egg yolk, you put that in there, and then I'm gonna put mine in the oven, right? Because I want the chicken breast to cook. And for the sides, I thought I would play a little bit. This dish does well with string beans. The string beans here are kind of heartier. They're just kind of bigger. They don't look as green. I went to the store this morning and I found some. These are the greenest I could find. So of course I did two different dishes. So we're gonna put string beans on the side for one. I could have put a beets. I could have, but anyway, it's too late. And then another one, I have some arugula with cucumbers. We're gonna do like a little green salad because you need green opposite that chicken. But on the chicken, once it's, you know, because it's got the panko breading, so it's gonna be nice and toasty. Then you do like a little gravy that you pour on it. But everybody does a different kind of gravy. You could do a white gravy, do a roux with the little milk and the flour, and then broth. And then I think I want to mix some of my salad dressing with the mustard, right? And then but you got to make sure it's thick enough. And then you pour it, a little bit of it over the chicken. You know, you could do striae or different little shapes, how you want the gravy to fall on top of the chicken. So your dressing can be as thin, not too thin. Too thin wouldn't work, right? Has to have some consistency. All right, so as I said, my hand's been in the chicken, but we're gonna turn the oven on, and I'm going to just mix the panko in there. It just needs to get a little bit more golden than just white, okay? So let me wash my hands real quick. So inside my chicken breast, I am going to make a spinach filling with cream cheese on top of the Swiss cheese, and then roll it so that you have a little bit of green, right? Okay. Because I didn't want, and of course it also will do very well with some mashed potatoes, yes. If you're into mashed potatoes, go for it, okay? All right. So I'm doing 2 chicken breasts, so it's not a whole lot. I have some panko. This is what it looks like here that I found, some panko. And the breading to me looks a little kind of harsh. Not harsh, but big. Just thinking 2. And then when you finish wrapping the chicken in with those fillings, then you're supposed to brush them with a mixture of mayo and mustard. You know, I used to do that when I made chicken. What was that I used to call the chicken? When you do that with the mayo, it's like a tenderizer. It tenderizes the chicken. All right. So I think that's good for 2 chicken breasts, right? It is the plain breadcrumbs. And then of course I'm gonna season it a little bit. Oh, today I was able to find allspice, ground allspice. You know, and when I have the, what is it, the little round kennel, and I'm trying to crush them and they're flying all over the place. And I found this, I'm like, ooh, it was like almost $5, but you know, there's certain things I don't mind paying for. So, a little bit. This is the breading. And I'm just gonna add a little turmeric. I think it's the what do we call that? What would we call that? The coating, right? If it has a little color, I think it's gonna be good. Curcuma, that's what we call turmeric. Curcuma. Alright, so we just want this, or maybe a little bit of herb, maybe herb de Provence. You want a little bit of herb, or if you just have dry parsley, that's fine. Ooh, I bought mint today. Yerba buena. There is a place here at the Mercado de Mariscos. When I go there, and they make a lemonade, and then they put mint in it. You know how when you having a drink sometime and they crush the mint in it? Oh, yes. But those places, I don't like to get that because, you know, there's a lot of sugar in those things. I don't know if I told you, I went to have my lab work and my A1C was starting to creep up again. And it's like, so now I'm giving away the mango, the pineapple. I was eating a lot of those every day. Yeah. Because, you know, it runs in my family. I have all my aunts. I have 3 aunts. They all had diabetes. My mom didn't have it. And then high blood pressure. We have a lot of GI stuff in my family. You know, like constipation and stuff. But no cancer, thank God. Alrighty. So, gotta keep that. So, we ready for that? So, I went to get the mayo. And I told you, the first time I tried mayo, and I'm like, ooh, it doesn't taste like mayonnaise. And then I don't want to have the mayo in the house. And then it was like almost $5 for the little thing of Hellmann's. Like, I'm not forget it. So I'm going to make my own mayo. You know, the mayo, you just kind of crack a couple of egg yolks, and then you put a little bit of oil. That's what we're doing. And then add the mustard so I can get the little coating. I don't need a whole lot. 2 chicken breasts. 2 chicken breasts. And the gravy is gonna have some Parmesan cheese. And I was like, oh my God, there's no Parmesan. That's how I buy Parmesan cheese because I don't want a whole lot of it here. So this is $2.20, so that's not bad. And that's all I need, you know, just to shave it into the dressing. Oof. And then I bought cilantro, and I still have some chives. The chives lasted a long time. All right, let's pound this chicken, and then we're gonna put it in a big plate. So let's borrow my blue plate. I said I had 5 plates. I think I have more than 5. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8. Oh, yeah, how about 10? I had 10 plates. Woo-hoo. So, we're going to cook some pears as a side. Yesterday, I was sitting here, and then I have had an apple in the fridge for the longest time. And I have used apples inside a pork chop, like a pocket. And then you cook the apples and you put it in there. Oh, the most delicious thing. Now, I haven't eaten pork in years, but I was like, yeah, I could use the apples for that. And then I go in the store and I could not find a thick pork chop all their pork chops are like this thin. They call them chuletas, cutlets, and that's how they cook it here. So unless I was able to find, I haven't, I don't know. They have some stores called carcineria or carneria where they sell meat. So maybe if I go there and I see a butcher and I would say, can you cut a couple for me, like a third of an inch. So we'll see. But so I said I had 2 pears in there and 1 apple. So I cut it up, just cut them up, and then I threw them on the stove and I put a little bit of butter, cinnamon, and I did put 1 Splenda. So I'm back to Splenda. It was so good. So we're gonna do that today, but we're not gonna cut it up. We're just gonna slice them halfway and use that as a side next to our chicken. I know I haven't eaten pork in years, but because you need protein and vitamin 12 deficiency is a big thing when you are on a plant-based diet. So remember, I'm not vegan. I don't even know if I would do well eating one if I don't get sick because it's been so long. All right, let me rinse my pork chop. I added a little bit of vinegar and cleaned them off. Oh yeah, my God, let me tell you that World Cup is getting fierce. The testosterone was just crazy. These guys were fighting. And so many calls that you notice by the refs were unfair. Unfair. So the referees definitely are partial to some teams and not. And that's all I'm going to say about it. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Okay, so can you see the chicken? So this is a chicken breast. So you're going to cut it like that in the middle and open it up. You're making a pocket. So you could have just filled the pocket like that, but I'm going to pound it a little bit without, getting rid of it. I just want, not getting rid of it, without breaking it. So now we're going to use parchment paper, or you could use cling, like my sister says. Use parchment paper. Well, I hope they don't find anything wrong with the paper. You give them a little time, they'll find something. All right, this is my mallet, Maggie's mallet. I could have put my mallet. If I ever make it back there, I have a list, but it's gonna be a while. Talked to my brother yesterday. These were nice size chicken breasts. All right, so a little thick on this side. France was playing Paraguay. I didn't even know that Paraguay was a good team, but they were. The game was kind of boring, but they were so physical with the French team. And the French team, they weren't bad, but they knocked them down. They were just hitting them in their faces. And the coach, the referee did not give them one yellow card. And the teammate on the sideline saying, "What's up with that?" It was so blatantly unfair. But I said the fight continues on the soccer field. Story of our lives, right? Yeah. That's probably going to be one of the questions I asked God. Why did we have to go through so much? And then he's going to say, well, you are not that special. Alright, let me give another piece of paper. You're not that special, Maggie. And I know I don't do dessert much, but I need to take one day and do some dessert, something healthy, you know, like mango ice cream or, you know, creme brulee. Creme brulee, you can't do it in one day because you have to cook it in the bain-marie and then you have to put it in the fridge for it to thicken up like a custard. So you can do it in one day. So I am looking for a camera to do my walking tours where it's not shaking so much. This poor sister said, can you find a way to stabilize the camera? It makes me nauseous. I felt so bad. But then I started watching a bunch of videos. They like walk slowly. And I'm like, I can be in the streets walking like that just to keep the camera stable. The things I do for y'all. All right, let's see. Okay, that's good because I don't want it to break. All right, and because we got to Maggi-nize this, if you're looking at a recipe for chicken cordon bleu, they're not going to say anything about seasoning it. But of course I'm going to season it. That's the given, right? Okay. All right, so we're going to just lightly season this chicken breast, and I'm going to pop it in the fridge because you know chicken. Sorry, Maggie, can you explain again why you are beating the chicken breast? Just to thin it out. Yes, if you're making like chicken parmesan, you do the same thing. You just want it to be that it's not so thick, it cooks faster. Yeah. That's something that we do a lot in cooking. Yeah, you pound it, and they have a term for it. I can think of it right now. But we have mallets, which is like a metal thing in the kitchen, and then it's got ridges at the bottom. It's like a tenderizer. That's it, tenderizer. To tenderize it so it cooks faster, right? Yes, Maria. Okay. All right. So, oh, yep. Ooh, I gotta get my breadcrumbs out. Ooh, yes. Ooh, I almost overcooked it, so, but we can do this. So you get that golden color. All right. Put that over here. So if you go to Walmart, to the household section, and then you're gonna see a mallet. We call that a mallet. It's a meat tenderizer. So buy that instead of buying the spice that says meat tenderizer. No bueno. That's a prepackaged thing. You don't know what's in it. Like, oh, it's gonna tenderize it chemically. All right, so I'm just gonna lightly put a little bit of olive oil. I love olive oil. And you know, I think I was reading, when you are buying oil, you want to buy the extra virgin because that's the first press. And then when you see regular olive oil, it's like they put it through the machine a second time. So you get the second time and they may add some stuff to it. So you want an extra virgin. And you're just hoping that's what they do because, you know, I don't believe these folks. Whatever they're telling me, and I'm like, yeah, all right, That's my skeptical side. So a little bit of, because I don't want the chicken to just be, it's not just a cheese to season the chicken. You need to have a little something, something in it. Put in a little bit of pepper. I love pepper. I put this in my smoothies. Yep, you can. And paprika is a staple because it's green, it's red pepper. Okay. Then let's see. Herbe de Provence. Cumin. Comino. Okay. All right. Let's see if there's anything else. You know, I have sage. I like sage, but sage, usually with meat. If you're cooking turkey, chicken, you can put a little bit of sage. It's not a spice that is used a lot except around the holidays. You know, you get sage to make the turkey dressing, right? All right. And let's see. Oh, thyme. Thyme is good, but I'm doing dry thymes today because I don't want thyme. I don't want a whole lot of it. And the fresh one might be a bit too strong, too pungent. All right. That's tomillo for thyme. My holistic doctor tell me to buy Evia or cold press. Yep, that's good. And even the avocado oil, I have not bought a lot because it's super expensive, right? And then over here they have ghee. Ghee is clarified butter and it's actually good, but it's super expensive too. I want to try it, but I haven't used it. All right, and then in here, I'm just going to put a little bit of salt. Okay? With your hand now, don't just pour. Okay? Un poquitito. Lift this up a little bit. All right. All right, so I'm going to put this in the fridge. Remember to always be super careful with chicken in the kitchen. Do not cross-contaminate. Wash your hands a lot. Don't, mix your salad and your raw chicken, right? If it's cooked, it's okay, but it's raw chicken. When in doubt, wash your hands. If you have to think about whether you wash your hands or not, go ahead and wash it. All right, so let's do the filling now for the chicken. So we're going to cook the spinach. And I'm just going to put a little bit of onions and garlic, and that's it, right? Okay. So let's cook this. And it's going to cook really fast because, spinach doesn't take long. Then we're going to cream our cream cheese. I bought this Kraft cream cheese. That's why my bill was a bit high this morning. This is queso crema, but it doesn't taste like, what's the brand that we have? Philadelphia? The Philadelphia. This thing was like $8. And I'm like, no. I don't need it that bad. So that's why a lot of times here, you go for the local brand. Because these brands, and you go into the cheese, and I even saw Gruyere cheese today. I had not seen that anywhere. Gruyere is super expensive. I remember I used to buy it at Restaurant Depot because when I made onion soup, French onion soup, then you have to put Gruyere in there. But here, I don't go look for it. All right, then this. So, I know yesterday we got weeds of healthcare. It's funny, this sister today, her program comes about the same time. She's been here, she said, 7 years. It's like respect, you know? And she's talking about reality versus expectation of some people coming here. And I remember exactly what she's talking about. There was a post where this person said, I am looking in this particular area for an apartment that is walkable, close to the store and food, the market, where I can find Uber and taxis and transportation. And then she said, for $500 a month. I laughed my head out. So she said, she had to do a video because she's like, I don't understand these posts where these people are getting their information that they can come here and expect to find these things for those prices. I'm like, okay, I was just laughing. And then she said something else. She said she took the bus from where she is. She's kind of outside the city, like a 2-hour ride. But she has a car, but I don't know. She said she decided to take the bus. And she was talking about her experience on the bus. She said, I think this is the last time I'm going to take a bus. You know, you take these buses, there's no AC, the windows open, they have the music loud, and she said, and it's true, they don't say we're full. Every stop, they stop, and then however many people want to come up, then the guy just stands there, and you got to go in there, they squeeze themselves in. I'm telling you, sometimes somebody's kind of sitting on your lap because they're just hanging on. I took a bus one time for an hour, and I was standing in the aisle, just hanging on to the ceiling, right? And it was just bodies just holding you together because there was nothing to hang on to. And she said, somebody had a BO that was really strong, body odor. She said, when she got there, she was so overstimulated. She said, this is the last time I'm taking the bus. And I said, oh, but you forgot to mention the chickens sometimes that come with you. Somebody would bring a carriage and the chickens in the aisle. And sometimes they start moving and the feathers come out. And I said, oh, Maggie, I was laughing so hard with you. And then she said, she said for safety, they would just drive really fast. I said, mm-hmm. And then I said, you forgot to mention that when they come to a curve, they don't slow down. And she said, there was a lot of tailgating. And I'm like, yeah. It's like you see your life flash before your eyes. Oh my God, I was just laughing so hard. I'm like, yep, I've experienced it. She said she was so overstimulated, she just wanted to go take a shower, go to sleep. And when she wakes up, maybe she's thinking, maybe she drank it. And then she said, and the multitasking of these drivers here in Panama is crazy. I say, yeah, because this guy nowadays with the World Cup, the Uber drivers, they're driving me and they're watching the game on a little console. They're watching the game. Listen, I'm telling you, I was laughing so hard because I can relate to everything she said. You get into one of these buses because it's so full, somebody's sitting in the aisle, so one leg on this person, one leg is on you. And they never say we're full. No, the bus is never full because they're gonna get everybody who's standing at the bus stop. My God, I had a laugh this morning. Now see, this is how you relieve stress. You read these stories and then you get into it and you're like, oh my God. Yes, I've had the chickens. And you know, yes, sometimes somebody would get up to give you a seat, but don't expect it because I was standing in that aisle after I went to some kind of festival and I had to take a small bus before I can get to the main terminal and get another bus. Yes, I stood there for an hour, like this. And then every time he makes a turn, that they don't slow down, you're afraid you're gonna fall on somebody. Oh my God, all right, garlic. Yeah, I took my onion off, I didn't want him to burn. Oh, Jesus. So somebody who is used to like fancy driving and stuff, you come here, I say, you don't want to get on that bus, okay? If you're prissy and you expect everything to be this and that, don't get on that bus, okay? It will offend your sensibilities. Oh my God, I was laughing so hard. Patty had me cracking up. She said I had to go to bed. Oh, wow. She had me in stitches. All right. So onions and garlic, yay. All right, so now we're gonna just chop some of this spinach. So remember, I'm trying to make a filling for 2 chicken breasts. And of course, you know that the spinach. Now this is why I said, you know, it can be hearty, it comes like in a bunch, or this one was on sale today for $2. I hope it was $2, but that's what it says. But you know, sometimes they'll say one price, and then when they scan it, it's something else. I didn't look. I probably should. All right. It's gonna be that inside the, and we're gonna mix the spinach with the cream cheese. And the cream cheese, I'm gonna cream it, and then I'm gonna add, I bought some pastured eggs today. They were a little bit pricey, but that's okay because I needed some eggs, but I'm gonna order delivery when they bring you 30 of free-range eggs. So I'm gonna order that tomorrow with some avocado. Alright. A little bit of veggie broth, not a lot. So we have garlic and onions. Now remember, this is not the regular Cordon Bleu. Yeah, they don't put that in the chicken Cordon Bleu. This is my version. So I'm not gonna even call it chicken Cordon Bleu because I do get a little bit hot under the collar when somebody's calling somebody's recipe something different. So I have to follow my own rules. So let's see, I'm gonna squeeze a little bit of lime juice. And a little bit of adobo, just for a little bit of flavor. That's that. And a little bit of lime juice. Spinach always needs a little acid. Okay? Now you see how it kind of went down quick, but I have the cream cheese filling, so that's gonna give it a little bit more body. All right, okay, over here. So now, let us cream this cream cheese. And when I cream the cream cheese, I like to put like 1 egg in it. All right, so let's do that. And of course, don't get all upset because remember, I'm not vegan. So don't get upset because you see me using an egg. And I move the camera because my one outlet is over there. Which it is what it is. You just have to roll with it. Beautiful apartment. You have a nice kitchen and 1 outlet. So I have 1 outlet over there with the strip because I have my coffee pot, I have the microwave, and you don't want to overload the circuit. Let's see. Does it reach all the way over? Maybe. So here it's my my blender. So we're gonna use it like this. Yeah. You do what you can, right? Without complaining. What's the point? What is the point? All right, so I left it out so it was a little bit soft. And I'm thinking only 2 chicken breasts, so I don't need to put all of it in there. Where's my egg? You see how cute and small these little eggs are? But the yolks here are so orangey. I love it. I remember getting those at home. You know, the yolk is pale and white. Does most of the apartments over there have kitchens with limited outlets? I think it's a thing. Yeah. Because I hear somebody, another sister said, oh yeah. Or it could be my building. I don't know. Yeah, it could be my building, right? So let me not generalize. But even the walls, you know, you can have 1 outlet and then it's like you got to go all the way over to get another one. So I don't know. But it is an observation. are done with that, so you have to have strips. And then of course you want to be careful you don't overload any one outlet, right? Because those are things that tend to cause fires. We don't want any fires. No. Alright. So my oven is ready. I need to get this thing, the chicken in the oven. Alright, so we're putting that in here, our spinach. And that's gonna be our filling. I'm gonna use this, I've been using my skillet a lot. You guys know I just got it, right? I'm gonna get a, somebody asked me if they have aluminum ones. So I'm gonna get me an aluminum skillet. Alright, so this is my filling. Now this is a la Maggie's, right? I Maggie-Chicken this. Okay. Now we gotta season this baby. We don't want our food to just not have any flavor. And I'm gonna use a little bit of that allspice that I just bought. You know, you put allspice in your like jerk seasoning, and you know the Jamaicans use jerk a lot in their recipes. Not jerk, allspice. So I was able to find some powder form one, because usually, I think it's usually the easiest one to find versus the whole. The whole allspice is a little bit difficult. And whenever you're doing a filling like that, if you are doing like a quiche or whatever, you want to grate a little bit of nutmeg. That is key. Remember the nutmeg. All right. Oh, there it is. My little grater. Yep. A little bit goes a long way. You don't need a whole lot. Oh yeah. Woo. Yummy. So good. All right. So we have our Swiss cheese and that. Ooh, that's hot. So let's get the chicken out. But before we do that, we have the panko we're gonna roll. We're gonna do an egg wash and a little bit of flour. So let's get our thing ready here. Yeah, we can put the flour in here. Flour, egg, and then the panko. And then we're gonna put the chicken in here. I already have this ready, and I have the parchment and my oven is on. Excellent. All right, 1, 2. Put the egg. Egg in here. I was explaining to the young lady at the store. I said, yeah, I'm going to be doing a cooking show. You should have seen her eyes got so big. She said, oh, you mean there's another way we could cook chicken? I said, oh, yes, ma'am. All kind of different ways for you to cook chicken. All right. A little bit of flour. Because you know here, when they do chicken al horno means in the oven. And they do that when they have a holiday. Chicken al horno or pavo al horno, that means baked chicken. You hear that, Greta? Al-A-L, chicken. Pollo al horno, pavo, which is turkey al horno. H-O-R-N-O, that's the oven. All right. Chicken, come to mommy. All right. But again, I'm gonna use parchment paper because I don't want my board to be all messed up with the chicken. Then I'm gonna have to wash it. So, hagamos eso. You guys see okay? All right. So we're gonna get the chicken breast right here. Ooh, looks so good. I'm gonna put the, I found some Swiss cheese from Switzerland. Yeah, they order a lot of things from Switzerland because I think my butter is from Switzerland. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at all. All right. Let's see. Let me taste it. Make sure it's okay. Good. All right. So we got several slices. All right. So we're gonna do one. We're gonna do two. All right. And then we're gonna put our filling. Chicken al pastor. I remember when we were doing Mexican, because you know when I was in school we had French Day, Italian Day. We even did like what's that country that uses a lot of red? Not Bulgaria. But anyway, all right. So now we're gonna roll the chicken. Okay, and right here, we're gonna dredge it in the flour. Now you could wrap it up in with the twirl, but I don't want to do that. I don't think you can see this part. All right, we dredge it in the flour, and we got to keep this thing in because it wants to come out. And then we dredge it in the egg mixture. Then we dredge it in the panko. Oh, come to mommy. All right, panko. So this is where it's gonna take its shape, right? Yep. Ship, ship, ship. Ship, ship, ship. Ship your booty. Ship your booty. Ooh, but that's gonna be a bit on the plate. Ooh. But you know, once it's cooked, you can slice it. That way you don't have to put the whole thing on a plate. All right, here we go. Oh, yes. Ooh. It looks pretty. And the other chicken breast. Actually, the chicken breast is big. So we gotta find one that is not so big next time. But that's the way they come. I just ask. Now, of course, mine has a lot more soft things to it, because if you just put in the, oh, all right, I can put the Swiss cheese later. Rinse my hand. So if you have smaller chicken breasts, they're going to be a lot easier to maneuver. All right, put that here and that. And let's roll. Oh, we have a hole in our chicken flour. But if you feel comfortable tying it, you can do that too. But I don't want to tie it and then take the twirl off. I don't want to do all that. All right, and in the egg wash. And in the panko. Ooh. Yeah. Now, some of the filling is going to spill out. I expect that. Okay? All right. Ooh. Beautiful. And it's got that golden hue to it from the turmeric. All right. Let's put this up here. Ooh. Yes. And then I'll show it to you if I put it in. So on one plate, I'm going to do a green salad. These are our chicken breasts. Now you see they look humongous, right? But we get to slice them, right? All right. So that goes in the oven. So we're looking, it's chicken breast and it's been pounded. So we're looking about 15-20 minutes, no more than that. All right. Rid of that. So, and all that goes to the trash. So remember, I'm going to put some water in here because we're going to blanch our green beans. The salad doesn't take any time because I'm just going to cut some cucumbers into the arugula, and that's all I'm going to do, and toss in a little bit of the vinaigrette. And then we need to do our pears because, again, I am bucking grains, no grains. Could you hold it with a strong toothpick? Yes, yes. Yes, thank you, Maria. Maria giving me all the hours. That's my sous chef. In fact, one lady said she does use that toothpick to hold it together. You are right, Maria. Now, I don't believe I have that. Let me put that in here. And So now for the pears. This is where it gets interesting. We're gonna cook these 2 pears in here. So I'm going to scrub them, and then we're gonna cut them in half, and then we're gonna cook them here. But you can do what we call poached pears as well. There is a famous salad, pear salad. Now, you have these, and you have the Anjou, the brown one that really, you can hold it with the stem, and then they could put all kind of caramel sauce and stuff, but we're not going for all the, I have to stay away from sweet stuff these days and carbs, okay? So, I want to see what's perfect after I lost all that weight. So we're gonna get back there, and I can't cheat. I've been saying that, but my body said you can't. And it's so important. You have to know your family history, and you can't choose the family you're born in. So you inherited these things. What about the young ladies with the BRCA genes and the breast cancer who are going and, prophylactically just cutting their breasts off? Oh, that's crazy. All right. Alrighty. So we're gonna have to core this and take the inside out. What you don't want is, because I don't want to cut it more, I want to keep it in half, but I have to get rid of the core. Okay? Now the pear is a little bit hardy, so we're probably going to sit on here for a little bit long, like 15 to 20 minutes, because we want it to soften up. But let's go. We got to peel it though. We're not going to keep it green. I could have peeled it before I cut it, but all right. And I think it's nice to know that with fruits, you can cook with them too. Apples, as I said, apple and meat go well together. Not chicken for some reason, but it pairs really well with pork. I'm just saying. Or if you like a chutney, right? You could put that in your meat. Just be bold and try different things. But now they're telling us that we need to eat a lot more fermented vegetables. So I went to this place here to look for, I love kimchi, but I like Korean kimchi. And then I found a Chinese place that made kimchi, but it wasn't the Korean kind, and it was really salty for me. And I was like, oh, I can't do that. So I went there thinking I'm going to get like a quart or something like that, and then I walked out. I was like, it's too salty. I can't. Salt makes me swell up. Everything makes me swell up. You start getting older and you're like, what's happening to my body? Yeah. All right. Now in this one, you could put a little bit of brown sugar if you want to. And I am, just to make it so it can caramelize a little bit. But yesterday I used a Splenda. I didn't use brown sugar, but brown sugar is the best to caramelize anything. So you get that brown hue on it. Yeah, peel it before you cut it in half. But we're doing it. Now you want the stem. Don't cut off the stem. You need that. Very good. Ooh. Yeah. It reminds me of chayote, right? That's how we take the core out of the chayote. Looks good. But I turned the heat down for smoky. Oh, what happened to my stem? Ooh, it fell off. This one fell off too. Or did I cut it off myself? Alright, I'm gonna save this for me and get another pair. Alright, so I got another pair. I need the stem. So let's peel this one first. But it's better if they've been sitting on the counter for a little while. They get a little softer. This one, I just got it from the store, so it's a little bit hardy. Now, you know, chicken breast doesn't take a long time to cook. It's one of the part of the bird that, you know, like if you're cooking a turkey, if you don't time it right, then it gets overcooked. And anything like that that's overcooked gets dry. So you don't ever want to overcook your chicken. And chicken breast cooks the fastest. The thigh takes longer. Alrighty, so let's turn this on. Now we don't use olive oil, it's butter for this, okay? So if you're vegan, you're not gonna like this. And I'm sorry about that. Now see, this is my New Zealand butter also. Oh, this one, the cheese was from Switzerland. Well, you know, all the land. Switzerland, New Zealand, land. All right, we don't want a whole lot. And then I'm going to just add just a little bit of the brown sugar. But you know, yesterday when I had the apples with that, oh, it tasted so good. And that's all I had. I didn't have any meat yesterday. No fish. And you see, that's all the sugar I have in the house. That's it. And we're gonna cut this. I think I did that. I accidentally picked the stem out when I was cutting this off. I think that's what I did. All right, get the core out. Smells so good. And what we do, we just put them down like this. So like that, like Tabitha says. And Tabitha has her line of spices, and boy, she goes out there and puts it in. I'm like, ooh, that's a lot. But you know, her story is so inspiring. She talks about how She got a call from Whole Food. Why doesn't Whole Food call me? And that was the beginning of her journey. How about that? And the other day, Facebook gave her a memory and she started crying. She was talking about where she was in like 2018 versus now. She's a millionaire with a private jet. Ooh. No, I want you to know, I don't want any of that. Nope. All right. So now we're going to season this with some cinnamon. As I said, never be too shy about your cinnamon, okay? Because that is good stuff. All right. And I like to put a little bit of salt. Not a lot. It's a stabilizer, right? And I have a little knife here, so we're gonna go ahead and use, where is it? Oops. All right, a little bit of the nutmeg. Yep, that's it. So now I'm going to cover this with the, so it can cook down, because as I said, it's going to be a little bit hardy because I might need to get my brush to brush these, but we want to get all this yummy butter on it. The caramelization. Who said you could use pear with your food? I do. I say you can use pear. So try next time you have a steak or lamb, right? If you're into that. Oh, that's good. Now, you know, when I do my Asian tour, if you're going to 26, 27, there's a place in South Korea. I'm going to go just because they cook those hops. And you know, it's amazing to watch how they make their broth and all the stuff they put in it. You know, cinnamon and oh my God. But see, I'm not into all that noodle though. That's the problem for me. That's why I say also with Mexico, I would have a problem with all the tacos. I'm not a taco person. But they have all kinds of fresh stuff I can use. I love their soup. And the mole, I don't think it's going to be something that I'm into so much. The chilies, I'm not into them either. All right. So, we're going to cover this so they can cook faster. I'm going to turn this down a bit and just let the heat do its thing. I have a lemon. They had lemons here today, and I'm going to grate a bit of lemon on top of it. Ooh. All right, now for the greens. Let's get the green beans ready. Now the green beans here, as I said, are not to my liking, because they tend to be thick, where what I'm used to, like in French cooking, we have very thin, delicate. Oh, I love kimchi. Sauerkraut is good too, Maria. So if you're looking for fermented veggies, sauerkraut is excellent. So I love kimchi, but I'm not a fan of sauerkraut, but you can put it on the side of your plate if you're eating rice or any kind of grain. That's good. All right. It's good for your gut, so they say. All right. Toothpicks, yes. All right. Well, it's holding its own though. It's holding. They don't like, you know, I was worried about that. But When you cook haricot vert, haricot is a French word for beans, right? The plants. And vert, of course, means green. And when you're doing that, you don't take the little stem off, which I tend to do, but you don't do that. Ooh, smells heavenly. All right, get down a little bit. Or maybe I will. I don't think, because I don't like these green beans here. I do not like them. They're hard. Just so totally different. So I'm just going to use enough for that one plate. We're going to blanch them and then pass them a little bit of the dressing. And then they're ready. Wow. So you could actually take the seeds, I guess, inside, because they're so big, so thick. No me gusta. Enough for one plate. And I think they had some haricot vert. They were like almost $5 for a little pack. I'm telling you. That's why they tell you, don't go look for brand. You're going to be breaking your budget. Like cereal. People who are into cereal, don't be looking for the Fruit Loops and other things. They have their own brand. Now, I don't know. I don't eat cereal. I don't know how they taste. But if you're looking for the brand that you used to, you're going to be paying. All right. I think that's enough string beans. So let us just rinse. Yeah, that's good. All right. Blanching. All right. All right. Let's check on our pears. How pretty they look. Ooh, look at that. Oh my gosh. This one needs to be a bit more caramelization. Let's do this one. Okay. Ooh. These are the pears. Ah. Play with your food. All right. So, oh, we got to make the sauce. We got to make the sauce. Well, we got to make it when it's almost time because we don't want it to get too thick enough on us. All right, it's going to be butter. We're going to make a little roux, butter, flour, a little bit of milk, a little bit of Dijon, and I'm going to use part of my dressing here that I have, and I'm going to add some of that to it. See, nothing goes to waste in Maggie's kitchen. Nothing goes to waste. We reuse things and we purpose, we figure something out to use them. All right, so I have the milk out, the flour. All right, let's go ahead and make the sauce. Hopefully, I'll make it on the thin side so it doesn't. So I'm using this. I don't drink milk, but I like this brand of milk here. And then there is something they say you take a little bit of milk, like maybe half a cup 2 or 3 times a week before you go to bed, and you put some turmeric in it. They call it golden milk. Apparently it's supposed to be good for your gut, anti-inflammatory, right? Takes inflammation out, and also takes away some of the bloating, which is something that I struggle with. All right, so we don't need these. Put them away. All right. And again, this is one of those things, it's butter, it's not olive oil to make the dressing. I love Parmesan cheese, especially the one that is aged. You know, remember this, you used to watch your cooking shows and they show you in Italy how they age those cheeses. Oh, it's amazing. I love the process. That's why I think if I go to Asia, I'm really gonna have a good time. Go to Japan and learn about tea culture. Right up my alley. All right, a bit of butter. You know what I didn't do with the chicken? I forgot to make that mayonnaise and brush it with it, but I think it got enough stuff in there. It's okay. All right. A bit of flour, got my whisk ready. The amount of flour is going to be directly related to how thick your sauce is. Right? And I don't use a lot of flour. I don't bake really, because anything that's baked, when they start putting that whole cup of sugar, I'm like, I turn off, but I can't. I've never been a sugar person. So this is what you call making a roux, right? And we still haven't made the gumbo that I talked about. Now that is a labor of love. You gotta sit here and stir and stir and stir. Now see, it's already going down, getting dark. And that's what a roux is, with the butter and the flour. All right. Now we're gonna add the milk. Started to thicken. All right. So now I'm going to add some veggie broth, because I don't want it too thick. I think we need to probably turn off the oven. It's been 15 minutes, right, Maria? All right. Okay, so we usually add a Dijon, a bit of Dijon in this. maybe like a teaspoon. You know, mustard is another good stabilizer when it comes to taste. I like to put a little bit of herbs and stuff in here. So I think I'm gonna put a little bit of broth, a little bit of my dressing. Oh yeah. Everything is repurposed. Ooh, look how nice it looks. Alright? So when you're thinking of turkey gravy, it gives you an idea of how you make turkey gravy, right? Alright, so now we're gonna season it. Salt and pepper and some lime juice. That looks so nice. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Yes. All right, we need to squeeze some lime juice. You know what I need also? I love to put in my dressings capers. You just chop some capers. It just does something to the taste. And of course, being in Panama, we have a lot of capers. You know, the Spanish culture is strong here. Caper and what is the one I'm putting dressing also? Oh, I forgot the name of it. It's like a sardine, but it's really good in dressing. Just gives you anchovies. Yeah, anchovies. All right. Capers. So lately, I have been seeing this restaurant that does paella, and they have been sending a lot of ads. More salt. Maybe a little bit of adobo. That's an equalizer too. And then lime juice. And we're gonna chop some cilantro. Ooh, the pears smell divine. All right, cilantro and capers, cilantro. Yes, squeeze the lime. Nice. Oh yeah. Okay. We are ready. Huh? Okay. So we're just going to toss our green beans and a little bit of that dressing. That's all. Nice and glistening. And we're going to get the chicken out. Oh yeah. We need to let this rest for a little bit before I cut into it. Alright. Always let your meat rest. I think next time I'm going to bake the pears and see how it comes out, right? Hola, Auntie. All right, we have our, see, the dressing is just at the perfect consistency. It's not too thick, it's not too thin, and it's gonna go really, if you have one of those pours, I don't, with the spout, I know I don't have that. Yeah, all right. So to plate, we're gonna use one of these and the other white that I have. Because the reason I was always looking for a larger plate, you know, when you go to the restaurant, you have this huge dinner plate and then the food is right in the middle. You know, sometimes I see people plate and it's like the head of the fish is over. That doesn't look good. I don't care what anybody says. All right. So our salad is so easy. Again, you know, I have to get the arugula, which is my favorite. You know, I don't see Swiss chard anymore, Greta. I don't know what happened. All right. And I still have beets in the fridge, but I did not roast them. And they need at least an hour or hour and a half to cook. And I don't like to boil them because I feel like I'm losing something in the red water. Oh. Cucumber. I didn't buy any peppers today. I just wanted the green. I didn't want to take away from the green next to the chicken because we already have the pears that are going to give it a pop of yellow or orange. That's it. Let's go. Okay. Maybe I put it in. Yep. I take it in and I keep looking. I'm like, where did I put it? Where did it go? With my dressing. Okay. And we're just going to, okay, let me rinse this because I think I used it for the chicken. This is where you have to constantly be looking, you know? If I finish using this, I have a sister who's bringing me a set of tongs. So if I were to put the thing from the raw chicken in here, that's how you could have gotten sick. See? Gotta pay attention. Oh, yes. Aww. So simple, yet so pretty, right? Okay. All right, let's get our chicken. I think it's rested. I'm gonna take it out of here and put it on the thing there so that we can cut into it. Oh, that's not gonna be easy. All right, let's see. Maybe we do this. Yeah. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. Mm-hmm. Oh my. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, this is our caramelized pears. Caramelized pears. That. Oh, yes. Look at that. Caramelized pears. Look. Listen. I am telling you. Be bold and try different things in your kitchen. Say, I wonder if this will look good with that. Give it a try. If it doesn't taste good, you don't have to try it. You don't have to do the same thing. Next time, try something else. Right? Mm-hmm. So now, on one plate here, let's do the salad with this one. Oh, so pretty. Wow. Okay. Okay, so we have our salad on here. So now I'm gonna get a knife with teeth. We call those serrated knives. Or you could call it a bread knife, right? All right, so we're going to cut into our chicken. Now remember, it could be ham in there, which I just decided to use something else instead of. Be gentle. And somebody might say, why do you spend time doing all that? Isn't it going to go in the same place? Well, yeah. Isn't it going to go in the belly? Yeah. But it's almost what you would call en croûte. En croûte means it's like in a pastry shell, but except for us, the shell, we just used a filling. Oh my gosh. Look at that. Then, let's put this beauty right here. Oh. Right there. Whoa, look at that. All right. And then we're gonna just put that dressing like this way. And I am going to grate a little bit of lemon on here. I don't think it needs anything else. I don't think this one needs anything else. Maybe a twig of cilantro or parsley. Oh my gosh. My goodness. Right there. Listen, I know. I amaze myself. Oh my gosh. Look how pretty. And then let's put the dressing on. Let's not forget the dressing. Time to put the dressing. Here's the dressing. The dressing is gonna go like this. That's it. Okay, so this is number one. And the next one, we're gonna just put the string beans on the side. Let me get the other chicken breast. It tastes so good. You can do the same type of chicken, but you're gonna use like a filo dough, not filo dough, but like a pastry sheet, and then you wrap them in there. Wrap it in there. We call that en croûte. Stay over here. What's the matter with you? Okay. And the pears. Here. Here. Yep. I think for this one, I'm going to put a couple of slices of lemon. I love to decorate with limes and lemon. I do. I do. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Mm-hmm. And then the dressing. Yep. Here we go. This is number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Number 2. Yes. All right, guys. That's it for today. Isn't that gorgeous? Play with your food. Go try and make some of these pears. You'll thank me later. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging with me. We made chicken cordon bleu a la Maggie, no ham, but it's still good with the cream cheese and spinach filling. All right? Thank you, guys. That's the other one. I got to hold on to all my children. All my children. All my children. Yes, 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 yes. All right, guys. Thank you. Oh, it is, you know, this is delicious. Green beans, everything balances. All right? Have a good one. See you soon. Bye. Oh, I always do that.